Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the British GP for the first round of the season. We are back here live and air without a co-commentator. My name is Jamie Morris. I'll be taking you through the live action here tonight. And you can see nice blue clear skies like it is in England, as many of you in the UK are experiencing with this heat wave. But we've got a few cars cut out for live action. And we had the pre-season race last time out back in Austria. Now it's time for the actual event where points can be scored and records can be recorded as well here in CRL. Last time out the pre-season race it was Austria. I think TF Rudy who won ahead of Bake Yoga, and it was Nathan JB who completed the podium P1, P2 and P3. I wonder how they'll fare well out here at this 5.8 kilometer circuit, 18 turns around here, and the home of motorsport. I've been around since 1950, along with Spa, Monza and Monaco, one of the 4 historical tracks that have been around since the Formula 1 days started, an official F1 championship. 18 turns around here, as this one is Cops, where we saw that famous crash between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton last year at the British GP. But Bake Yoga is not the first man to come out on the circuit. It is Jeroen who's came out on the circuit first, so we'll go on board with him then, as we can see him making his way around this track. Hold on for a second. Game volume was a bit loud, but we're on board with Jeroen Visitor. He's about to make his way around Stowe to start a flying lap around this 5.8 kilometer circuit. Let's see then how he starts his lap. Preparing the tyres, making sure they're in the right working temperature, about 85 degrees to start with. And there we go then, starts to fly out, make his way around the final corner, gets on the Hamilton International Straight as we make our way into turn number 1 then. Turn at the 50 metre board, taking a lot of curve on the edges towards turn 1. Turn 2 also flat out, the quick and braking point into turn 3 before the 50 metre board. Braking at the curb starts, kiss the apex of the engine towards turn 3, swing it in for turn 4, kiss the apex for this one, into 4th gear, make sure you brake traction, no wheel spin at the exit for Jeroen. Turn 5, well into straight now, DRS enabled for opportunities to overtake it down towards turn number 6 then, as we'll make our way into Brooklands, braking the 50 metre board, turning as well, into 4th gear we go, now into 5th gear, going into Lovefield, down into 3rd gear, then short shift immediately up into 4th. Using all the track on the outside as well, making our way into Woodcut then, flat out corner, no problems through there whatsoever, as we make our way through Cops then, swing it into the 50 metre board, and he does lift off, stays in 8th gear, and using the full track limits there, almost developing that lap time, making our way through Maggins and Beckers as well, flat out to the first part 2, and gradually getting slower into 7th gear, using a lot of curve, and into 5th gear momentarily, back at the throttle then. And now there's going to be a 3.4 in the middle centre for Jeroen then. So decent first lap so far from Jeroen, keeping nice and tidy then. Make our way into Stowe, into 5th gear he goes then. Used a lot of curve on the entry. Didn't really get the best of exits coming out of there. Didn't really carry the speed as what he wanted, but this first lap, as we make our way into Vale then. 4th gear corner, save for this one as well. And you can see just smooth on the throttle there for Jeroen. And it's going to be a 27.3. And he pops himself up into P1 then as provisional pole time. Next across the line is Bake Yoga, and that's not a lap time for him, must have validated that lap time, but Pease immediately goes quicker with a 27.0 by 3 tenths then. And Williams next across the line, that is Ruff the next day, or I must say Evans, he's in the Williams along with Bake Yoga, so P3 for him. And TF Rudy then pops his car into pole position, going quicker than Pease by 5 thousandths. His fellow FTF driver won a few hours ago. It was Frankie. Can really do it here as well. Relentless Walter goes quickest with a 27.0 then, so close times between 1st, 2nd and 3rd, all within a 27.0 then, so plenty of time to be found from the likes of Jeroen. Reservoir in P5 ahead of Evans, so Reservoir's debut here in CRL. And looks like a lot of drivers that did get the first lap times they would have wanted, probably due to mistakes. So let's see then, as they go for their second lap time, you can see Leroy clouting the curbs through there at the exit of turn number 4. He makes his way onto the Wellington Straight, down at turn number 5, as Knight puts his car into P8, Nathan up into P7. And Leroy's time is a 27.6 in that first sector. So only 8 lap times on the board so far, with majority of drivers out there. Panda and Duval coming out later than others on their out laps, as Duval's about to start his flying lap in that Aston Martin. But P9 all the way down to P17 have not set a lap time just yet. And Bake Yoga gets a lap time on the board. He puts himself into P4 with a 27.2, so his second attempt He's put himself 2/10 further behind Pease, Rudy and Walter then. So good lap time there for Baquet Yogurt. And Leroy then makes his way through the exit of Stowe. It's a 3.6 there and invalidated that lap time. So he's taking too much curb on the exit of that corner and therefore will not be able to complete the lap time. He's run out of fuel anyway. And according to this, he's only done one lap on this set of tyres. So this is his second lap. And unfortunately for him, that the second lap didn't count either. Isa Kush in the Haas has also invalidated that lap time. And somebody just moved up the order. That is IoT Bompier then, who's just popped himself up into P9 in the McLaren with a 27.7 on the verge of the top 10 there. Rough the next day then has also invalidated that lap time. So plenty of drivers then invalidated their first lap times, as you would expect around here. Early stages of this qualifying session, each driver then just adapted to the way the track feels. As we've got about 6 drivers who have not set a lap time just yet, unfortunately for them. But they'll get a lap time on the board very shortly, as majority of the drivers they complete their first round and they are back in the pit lane. ESW Panda on his flying lap, he's making his way through the exit of the first sector and going into Brooklands and now Luffield. Let's see how he takes this one then. Don't take it too wide a line, don't want to go too wide through there. Just want to stay in the middle of the track. And lovely exit from Panda there, using all the track as possibly he can get away with. And now he's making his way towards Cops then, swinging into the 50-metre board. Down in 7th gear he goes. Some people have to stay in 8th gear, but I ain't seen nobody go flat out through there yet. And now he's making his way through Maggotts and Beckett's. Easy to mess up as well. Just want to keep a nice rhythm going through there, keep it very smooth while carries the speed. And Panda is a 3.5 for him in that middle sector, so on course for a decent lap time is the Alfa Romeo driver as he makes his way towards Stowe. Can't wait to see what this lap time is because it looks like it's decent so far for Panda, but a little bit of understeer going into Stowe on the exit of it. It still makes it within the track limits on the exit of that right-hander. Now going into these slow speed corners. Let's see how he handles this one. Easy but throttle there. It's going to be a 27.5 and he pops himself into P8, so he's got himself inside that top 10. And ILT to Griff then in the Red Bull with a 27.5 for the first sector as he exits Luffield. Very easy to spin the car there if you got the throttle way too early. And now he's making his way on the old pit straight going into Cops. And lifts off slightly, even on the brake side as well, going into there. Stays in 8th gear as he makes his way towards Maggotts and Beckett's then. Our main competitors, Walter, Pease, Giroud, Evans are coming out of the pit lane to do their second flying lap. Remember, this is a very long pit lane, so you only want to be doing a one stop around here. You should be losing a lot of time if you're doing a 2-stop, unless there is a safety car, of course. But only short qualifying for the season because there's no point doing long qualifying, especially when you're able to choose what tyres you want to start on during the actual race. So there's no point doing long qualifying and wasting a lot of time, and we could just do a short qualifying session. And to Griff, they make his way towards the line. It's going to be a 27.9 and pops that Red Bull into P11 then. So that lap time I think needs improvement from him. That was his first lap time. His ILT teammate Asib there going for a lap time, heading into turn number 4 there. You see the back end of the car just stepping out a bit then as he makes his way onto the Wellington Straight. Favourite places to watch, especially around this part of the circuit, because loads of overtaking actually will happen around here. Going into Maggotts and Beckett's, going into Brooklands Luffield. I can't wait to see that in the upcoming race. And looks like somewhere on the track then, Giroud Vizza has gone for a lap time, and I wonder where he is on the circuit. I think he's currently ahead of Giroud. No, he's going through the end of the first sector, so we'll stay on board with ILTC, continuing his lap time. And now as we approach the fast speed corners, flat out for the first part, he's down to 7th gear already in the second part. And you don't want to get too greedy on the curve there because it'll throw you outside of the track. And it's a 3.7 there for ILTC in that middle sector. Didn't really get the best of lines going through Maggotts and Beckett's there, so lost a little bit of time. And now he's making it through Stowe. If you're a pad player like me, it's quite difficult to make it through Maggotts and Beckett's. But he's approaching the final 3 corners now. Be very patient with the throttle, don't get too greedy with it, especially when the tyres are up their best. And he rounds the final corner. It's going to be a 27.9 and he pops that AlphaTauri ahead of his IRT teammate of De Griff in P11. So back on board there with Relentless Giroud. He's currently a few hundreds up in that middle sector is Giroud. A little bit missed the apex there going into Vale. I wonder how much time that costed, but here he is then round the final corner. It's going to be a 27.2 and he remains in P5, so did improve on the lap time. It wasn't good enough to move up any positions, and as P is the next one to cross the line, and that's his teammate, and his teammate Bob Pierre is starting a flying lap. And we've got P's there making his way towards the last 3 corners. We've got Alpine who's currently on their flying lap. I wonder who that is as he makes his way towards the line. Goes P9, and here goes P's, and he takes provisional pole with a 26.9. He's currently on pole, is Total P's by a tenth as well ahead of Wouter in hand, and Wouter is on the track somewhere. He's improved by 1/10, so can Wouter snatch back pole position? And let's see if there's a decent final set as Isa Kush goes P2, Relentless Evans goes P5. Here comes Wouter, making his way around the final corner. He's going to take pole away from Rudy. No, he doesn't. And Wouter stays in P4, but it's perilously close between those guys. And Rudy then takes pole position with a 26.8. Back on pole is the Dutchman and Rudy, and Resify pops himself into P5 as the track continues to evolve in. And Bakke Yogurt, where is he? He's currently on a lap time somewhere around the circuit, going through turn 1 and turn 2. So has he completed the lap? No, he hasn't. He's gone for a second lap, so he must have validated the first time round on his set of soft compound tyres and go for it again on his 1 lap old set of soft compound tyres then. So yet again, his first lap's not doing him any benefit, but his second lap is. But ILT Bobby then making his way back to the pit lane. There's only one driver who's not set a lap time on the board, which is Rough the next day. Not having a good time out there so far, but his RP teammate is up at the P10. So quite interesting at the top of the field there. Rudy then with a 26.8, that was so close to contact there between the McLaren and the Alpine. Thankfully that wasn't contact, otherwise P's or Leroy would have had a 5 place grid penalty. But yeah, it's just ever so close there. P2 to P4 with a 26.9, and Rudy there finding a little bit more time in comparison to those guys with a 26.8. Could this be Rudy's season? It looked very strong in pre-season testing. It's early to say what could happen, but can anybody dethrone Javu Vizza, the current reigning defending world champion of CRL? They're all in the pit lane, just waiting for the final laps to arise. They should be all interesting from there. With 5 minutes left to go in this session. Rough the next day, 5.5 in the middle sector, so I don't think that's a decent middle sector for him in order to make his way up to the field. So what will he do? He'll come back in the pit lane. He knows it's not a decent middle sector himself, fortunately for him, but hopefully he can find a lap time on the board as Dewell has gone for a spin at the final corner. And sadly for him, he will not improve on his lap time. He stays down in P16 then, so Dewell then under pressure down there in P16. Relentless Knight in P15. And to Griff down there in P14. I think he's just going for a flying lap. Is the Red Bull driver 27.9? I think he's going for a flying lap. As Ruff the next day has retired, so the first race of the season is retired from this qualifying session, so he's not happy whatsoever. Maybe he's just waiting for the race. But yeah, we've got to Griff that makes his way towards the end of the first sector with a 27.4, so he's currently a 10th down. Is to Griff. But majority of the drivers then are in the pit lane with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left to go on the clock. It's been very interesting. Did anybody stop Rudy from taking pole position away from him? We'll find out, but to Griff Panda, Relentless Knight out there currently in P15, then go for his lap. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in this session. Indian Jesus and Jackal Speed in the chat. And Relentless Knight then making his way towards the end of the first sector. He's improved, he's actually lost time by 1/1000 in the first sector. Has Knight. He was called ISO Knight, now he's called Relentless Knight as Seeb has rejoined the session, so hopefully he can get back on the track very soon. He's got 3 minutes left to go. And Bakke Yogurt then, IT Bobia on their outlaps for the possible final flying laps. Probably it's going to be very interesting. Can try to take pole position away from Rudy, separated by 4/10 is P1 down to P9. With Javu at the back of the queue with Leroy 4/10 separated further behind Javu Vizza. ISO Knight 500 down in that middle sector then. And once his lap time is done, we'll go back on board with Bakke Yogurt to see if he can find any more time. Relentless Nathan up into P5 with a 27.5 in the Red Bull. And Knight then has decided to go back in the pit lane. I don't think he'll have enough time to come back in and go back out. Well, Relentless Knight, unless they change the tyres, which they can't do because you can't do a pit stop during qualified, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's it for Knight. I think his qualifying is done and dusted. And he'll be starting down at P15 unless Giroud can take P7 away from him. P15 away from him. Here we go then, Bakke Yogurt then, bound to make his way towards that final corner to start his potential last flying lap. Probably the reason why he came out very early, just in case he violates his first lap. He's always got a second lap to go for. But here we go, turn 1, nice and flat. And turn 2, flat as well. Going into turn 3, brake when the curve starts to develop. Kiss the apex on the entry. Don't ride that red curve, otherwise it'll unsettle your car. Same for this one, they just want to get the car rolled in, turned in, rotated. And coming out this corner, then good traction there from Bakke Yogurt. Well into straight, DRS enabled then as we make our way down towards Brooklands. And let's see how much time he's up or down. And he's currently 8 thousandths up in the middle, in the first sector. And going into Brooklands then, nice there, and nice entry towards Luffield as well. Let's see if he gets on the throttle without any problems. Yes, he does. He doesn't have any problems. And very nice with no wheel spin. Going into World Cup we go then as we make our way towards Cops. Swinging in at the 50-metre board. Down to 7th gear he goes. Back on the throttle. Now making our way down to Magnus and Beckes. Nathan has retired in the pit lane. He won't take any part in qualified. Going into Magnus and Beckes we go then. Looks like it's nice and decent so far for Yogurt. Hitting all the lines. Still staying on the racing line. It's going to be a 3.3. He's improved by a 10th. That's Bakke Yogurt, but he's backed out. Yogurt was improved by a 10th, and he would have taken most tyre life out of those tyres. And all of a sudden he's decided to back out. So I wonder why he didn't continue with that lap time. Does he want to go for a second lap? Does he want to risk that? He can't come in the pit lane. Otherwise that's qualifying done for him. He's drained most of the ERS as well. So that's a very interesting call for Bakke Yogurt. Does he feel that he's got more time left in him to try and improve on the lap time? If he doesn't, then he may regret backing off on that lap time. But let's see if the tyres can hold it on there. Bearing in mind, they'll be swinging the car about left and right. The tyre temperatures will be up through the roof as well. So hopefully those tyres are still in the correct window. But once he does his final flying lap, we'll go on board then. Shall we go on board with TF Rudy? Oh, a bit of a twitch there coming out on Luffield. And he was 4 thousandths up going in that first sector. Was TF Rudy then, so let's see if we can find more time in this middle sector. Going into Cops we go, in 7th gear, but goes a bit wide, and he validates his lap time, so that's qualified done. And Rudy would not be happy with that one, so it's up to Pease and Isa Kush then to try and dethrone Rudy for pole position then. And looks like somebody spun, that's Leroy spun coming out of, where's that? It's coming out of Maggie to Beckett's. Leroy has crashed the car. Unfortunately lost one of his tyres. There we go, the P is coming through Maggie to Beckett's, currently in P2. Can he find any more time in that McLaren to try and take pole position away from Rudy as he makes his way towards the end of the first middle sector? He's 100 down in that middle sector. Can he find the time to improve on as he makes his way towards Stowe? Let's see then how he takes this corner. Into 6th gear we go, gets a decent exit. And the car ahead of us is a Haas. I think that's Isa Kush in the Haas, so keep an eye on him then as he makes his way towards the final 3 corners. Oh, he's gone for a spin. That's Isa Kush, he's gone for a spin. And here comes Pease there, making his way towards the line. And it's pole by a 26.8, a few hundreds quicker than Rudy. And Isa Kush then was the man, I think, who spun. And here comes Walter there, making his way towards the final corner. It's going to be a 26.9. And unfortunately for him, does not improve on the lap time. And that was Isa Kush who did spin there. Here comes Reservoir, across the line, stays in P5. Here comes Evans. He's not up, he's 4 seconds down. Panda in P8 has backed off in his lap time. Javufasa has backed out, so that's P9. Unless anybody can put him down in the order, which I don't think they can because everybody's completed their lap time. So, Relentless Peas is on pole position. Ahead of TF Rudy, Isa Kush in P3, Walter P4. Resify P5, Evans P6, Bakke Yogurt in P7 ahead of Panda. Jaroon in P9 ahead of Nathan in P10, QRT Leroy P11, IRT Bumpier, Sieb, Tigriff, Knight, Dual. We're off the next day. Fill out the grid. Interesting quality to say the least. And Jacob Booth then, the man we're probably waiting for in that lobby, just confirmed that he is not racing because he couldn't make it in time due to internet connections. So maybe he could commentate with me. But yeah, look at the difference there. 1/10 between Pease and Isa Kush. I wonder if Isa Kush was improving on that final lap before he spun. I think we'll have a look if he did or not. Isa Kush on his few lap times. Let's have a look. It was validated anyway, so I don't think he would have been got a lot of time in. But yeah, so P is then on pole position. Let's see if he can keep it up. Panda out-qualified his teammate Javun Vizza. And Javun then in P9, what's happened to his pace? But bearing in mind that the gap is separated by 4 tenths between himself and pole, so it's not too bad. But can he recover in this race? That is qualifying done. We'll move on to the race. And lap 20 then for tier 2 is currently Leo, who leads ahead of Marty. Cross Liam in P3 as a tier 2 stream is also going on. Fandango, who's currently commentated tier 2. Looks like an interesting race so far. Cross Liam on the soft compound tyres. Can he win this race? He's about 9.5 seconds behind, so I don't think he can, but the most he can get is P2 because Marty has got a 3-second time penalty and he's on the older mediums as well, so I think Cross Liam will have a chance at this. But it looks pretty spread out between the field in tier 2. Leo just needs to keep it nice and clean. With 6 laps to go, he's got a gap of 10 seconds in front. So there should be no reason why he shouldn't win this race unless he makes mistakes. Defending from Marty in P2 has currently got his hands filled with Cross Liam, Foul Fury in P4, 4-star in P5, Staban in P6, KSI P7, Claire PR P8, Cole Paradox P9, Captain Nick in P10, CPI De Rouge P11 on the brand new set of soft compound tyres. Can he catch Captain Nick for P10? Nosley in P12 ahead of Law. Nefu Safu in P14. The Little Yuan in P15 on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. So is Strauss, Hobbsy P17 and the real DC with 5 laps to go in the tier 2 race. Marty then, the battle is focused between P2 and P3. Can Cross Liam overtake him? If he can't, he's just got to stay within 3-second gap of the DRS, the 3-second time penalty, as Marty has picked up a penalty. No chance of victory because Leo has pulled a 9-second gap on those guys ahead, so we've got yellow flags in this first sector as well. And there's an interesting battle with Foul Fury and Cole Paradox, and Cole Paradox is up into P7. Nice move there from Cole Paradox, chasing. That was Claire PR, so Claire PR now approaching KSI. That was a good battle there between KSI, Claire PR and Foul Fury. Looks like Marty is closing the gap down towards Leo, so Marty, with 5 laps to go, might have a chance. And now we focus our attention towards tier 1 then, as the formation lap is underway. And let's have a look at the tyre combinations. I don't think anybody is on the soft compound tyres. Let's have a look. Nope, nobody's on the softs. Majority of the drivers have gone for the hard compound tyres. The guys further down the grid, Duval, Rough the next day, Nathan and Evans have gone for the medium compound tyres, so expect them to be rapid. Hello Jav, hello Nacho, hello Jacob. Indeed, Jesus Dragon on speed, and Isa Kushten has been disqualified, and that's a spinner. Who's that? That's an Alphatari. Rudy's gone for a spin, but that's probably a tactical spin, as probably getting extra temperature in the tyres. Don't want to be in the grid longer than he would have wanted, so tactical spin there. I myself, admittedly, have done that plenty of times. I don't blame anybody for doing it, but manual started grid, so you don't want to mess that up. Hello Nacho, hello Nacho, how you doing, mate? Hope you're doing alright. I wonder who's going to win. This is going to be a fascinating race. We saw the pre-season race, elbows out, even though it was the pre-season race at the Austrian Grand Prix. We're about to see even more here at the British GP in Silverstone. I can't wait to see how this race unfolds. P's taking the first pole of the season. Can he convert it into a win? Can he get his season underway in style? Can Giroud visit in P9, claw his way back in and try and take potential victory away? The defending CRO champion. This race will be underway very shortly. Epic battle going on between Claire PR and the Red Bull there. Very interesting to see, but we have to focus our attentions now towards Tier 1's race. And I'll have a look at the last comment, and let's have a look at that. I'll have a look at the comment. Resting in a moderate warm room after a trader watching some drivers who are considerably faster than me. How about you? I'm good, thank you, mate. And yeah, have a good rest, mate. Recovery's important after a trading day. Here we go then. The race is about to get underway. I'm just waiting for the lights. 4, 5. And we are underway for the British GP for round number 1 then. Let's see, I think it's an even start for the top 2. Rudy settles into P2. And look at the Williams, they're going side by side. That was Evans who got a good launch off the line of those medium compound tyres. Here's Bakayoko, they're going side by side with Isa Kush as we make our way into turn number 3 then. And you can see there, each driver going side by side with another. Let's see what happens further on. You can see Evans there putting massive pressure on Walter on those medium compound tyres. And using the ERS, he needs to make use of those medium compound tyres. As further back, we've got more battles going on. And that's QRT Leroy getting past Isa Kush. Isa Kush has fallen down into P8. I'm not quite sure what happened to him. And we've got Resify and Nathan going side by side. But there's contact, and that's Isa Kush, who got sent to a spin. And he's fallen all the way down into P17, unfortunately for him. And he's got end plate damage as well. So the first lap has ruined Isa Kush's race. He's tumbled all the way down into P17. And Evans there, very quick on those medium compound tyres, as you expected to be then, putting pressure. Look at Leroy, is that putting pressure on Nathan there in P7. From judging by the timing screens, I thought Nathan was right, sorry, I thought he was side by side going into Magnus and Beckett, but it's just a bit of a timing glitch from QRT Leroy and Nathan. And Evans then pulling out the slipstream to go down the inside of Walter. Can Walter try to stick it around the outside? If he can't, it doesn't matter. But look at that then. Sticking around the outside is Walter. Of the inside line for the next corner. He's late on the brakes. Evans trying to try to stick it around the outside. Evans has the inside line for this corner then. As they make their way going out side by side. And Giroud. Evans has made his way up into P3 then ahead of Walter. Had to get that move done being on the medium compound tyres. But that was some mighty defence there from Walter. Not willing to give up on that position. But eventually had to on those medium compound tyres. And look at the Alfa Romeo, they're looking interested on P5. Bakayoko and Giroud have made up one place. I think there was contact there between Walter and Evans is up into P3. Yeah, Walter P4, Bakayoko at P5, and Giroud in P6 then. Dutch bats up to P4, P5 and P6. Nathan up into P7 from starting in P10, making use of those medium compound tyres as well. And he's just overtaking Leroy. He's up into P7 ahead of the Irishman. As Pease continues to lead ahead of Rudy, and Evans followed in P3 then. And Resify has just made his way past Panda for P9. There you can see the battle. They're going side by side into cops we go. And Resify hooking the inside line, making sure he doesn't make contact with Panda. And Panda stays, he goes up into P9, sorry, I got a bit confused there. Panda up into P9 in the Alfa Romeo. But up at the front then you can see Evans closing the gap towards Rudy. Rudy putting pressure on Pease ahead of him, and Evans needs to make use of these medium compound tyres to try to take the lead in this race and try and pull away while they're at their best. And Evans is clawing all over the back of Rudy and Pease, but DRS is enabled next lap. Evans made up as many positions as he can being on those medium compound tyres. One thing he can't afford to do is being stuck behind these two, otherwise he has to pit and therefore won't have the time to close in on these guys. DRS then is enabled on this lap, so they'll feel the benefit going down the Wellington Straight. I wonder if any moves could be made there. Coming out of the Wellington Straight then, Pease still has the edge over Rudy and Evans in P3. Better back Nathan there in P7 on those medium compound tyres as well. Be looking to get past Giroud, Yoga and Walter, but being a DRS train will not help his case at all. And Resify still putting pressure on Panda. Went side by side going into cops, and Panda had the outside line. Stayed ahead of Resify, but Resify then looking to try and find his way back past. And Knight is fighting with DeGriff there. DeGriff just stays ahead of the Canadian driver. Knight using the ERS to try to go back down the inside. Red Bull and Mercedes going into cops together, but Knight stays behind the Red Bull driver on that occasion. Back at the front then, so can Evans try and find a way past Rudy or Pease? If he can't, he's stuck there, and he's not going to make the progress he wants to make on those medium compound tyres. The strategy won't go his way whatsoever. He'll be on the hard compound tyres, whereas the other two will be on the medium compound tyres and have the advantage over him. That's why it's pivotal for Evans for his race to try and get past those two as quickly as he can before those mediums start to drop away, which should be about 10 laps time anyway. But how can Evans try and find a way past these two? P's doing a good job out front on lap 4 out of 26 to stay ahead of Rudy. As we make our way down into turn number 3, then the DRS line is right there. Walter still following in P4, Nathan JB in P7. As we make our way coming out of turn number 5, then on well into straight we go. It's hard for Evans to get past him. He just can't find a way past, with Rudy beating the DRS of P's as well. So what can Evans do? Can he just try and fight him in the corner somewhere, try and force Rudy to a mistake, be all over the back, maybe use a bit more battery than he's already using, try and force Rudy to overtake P's? Because what Rudy will do, will use P's with DRS while he's saving the ERS. Look at that, 90%. So I think Evans got to use his battery and really push him to try and make him overtake P's or concede the position. Otherwise he'll be stuck there in P3, not being able to make the progress he would have wanted, being on those medium compound tyres. Started P5, now up into P3. As we make our way then on the Hanger straight, Evans on this occasion is not using the battery to try and close in towards Rudy. But back Yoga then close towards Walter. Walter then 9/10ths behind Evans, so he can make sure he doesn't fall out the 1 second range of DRS, otherwise back Yoga will be all over him. And the guys are behind will as well. And I'm going to go on to lap 5 out of 26 of this race. I wonder what else. There's plenty of battles going on there so far. And it looks like somebody's fallen down the other. That's Tigre, and he's fallen down into P15. And now we've got ILTC right behind him. So both ILT drivers then really struggling at this early stage of this race. Remember, a few seasons ago, I think it was 2 seasons ago or 3, ILTC won this race. It was his 3rd race in CRL and he managed to win it, but so on this occasion he's currently down in P16, unfortunately for him. Yeah, both ILT drivers look like they're struggling there. The highest ILT driver is in P11, Bompier. Looking good for Relentless, 1, 3 and 4 and 6 as well. Looking good for them, as Isa Kush is just at the fastest lap of this race on those medium compound tyres. He's just hoping for a safety car after the contact he had down at turn number 5. Unfortunately got sent into a spin. Hopefully we can recover from there, but once again we're heading on to the Hanger straight. Is Evans anywhere closer? Is Bakayoko poised to make a move on Walter? Can he try and get down the inside of him into snow? No, he can't, but can he try and find a better exit and I'll drag him towards the final 3 corners? No, he can't. Bakayoko was supposed to be commentating with me, but he's out there racing. Both Williams looking really good in P3 and P5. Solid performance from them so far, both splitting their strategies. That's probably why Evans has gone into the medium compound tyres, because they want to split strategies. You know, the undercut can be really powerful around here. Can take a long time to also get heat into those tyres. Now there's a yellow flag. I think that's Steve who's gone for a spin. And now he's rejoined down in P16, so things are not going well for ILTC. I know ILT are watching him race, but it's not gone his way whatsoever so far. This is good from TF Rudy. The longer he does this, the longer he'll keep Joshua behind. Joshua probably just frustrated just staying in P3. He knows he's got the pace to try and overtake these guys and pull away, but he just can't do so with the advantage Rudy has on P's with the DRS. So Rudy working tactically there to keep Evans behind whilst maintaining that ERS. He's just making sure he's keeping Joshua behind, so he has the less chance of clawing his way back towards later in the race. These hard runners will go on the mediums about lap 16, 17. Rudy not wanted to make a move on PJ. He's going to leave him out there as long as he can before he has to make the move. And Josh then will probably try and have to use a lot of ERS to try and get past him if he wants to try and make progress. And Panda right behind Leroy for P8. But doesn't get past him on that occasion. Leroy currently running his own race down to P8. Just a drift from these guys, but P's has got past. Well, look at that, Rudy's going past P's there. As we make our way into turn number 1. Was not expecting to move there. Did P's make a mistake? However, it's allowed Rudy to go past him. Will Evans fancy a move on P's? No, he doesn't. So I wonder what happened to P's there. Did he lose the car coming on the final corner? Because you don't really see people making moves there. but Rudy now has taken the lead of this race. Pease will have DRS on Rudy, but will he try and get back past him as we make our way onto the Wellington Straight? Down the inside he goes then, on the Wellington Straight, into Buckley's we go, and he retakes the lead of this race. Whatever happens to Pease, he managed to recover quickly and save the car and not lose any time. Rudy's back down into P2. Maybe Pease wants the DRS for himself. Isa Kush has just had the fastest lap of this race, down in P17, running his own race, hoping for a safety car. However, he has used a set of medium compound tyres. Bearing in mind those hards will be 1 lap old, as he did pit on the first lap. So if a safety car does come out, he can go back on the hard compound tyres, because you know the tyres around here, you only get 1 set of mediums and 1 set of hards, so it's just difficult to can't keep coming into the pit lane and put on a brand new set of mediums or hards. You're going to choose carefully. So people go on the stock compound tyres, hoping for a safety car later, and put on the mediums or hards later on in the race once that safety car does come out, so they don't have to use the extra set of tyres, which is the important factor of this race. Heading on to lap 8 out of 26 then. I expect Evans to be in the pits on lap 13-14. So he goes on the hard compound tyres. Not the progress he would have wanted to make, but not much he could do, being stuck in a DRS tray behind these guys, and back here Yoga all over the back of Walter. Interesting to see those guys fight. Look at that, it's a DRS train all the way from P1 to P7, looking good. And Nathan caught in the back of the train. And Nathan's showing some decent pace as well. I think the tier 2 race has just ended because we've got more people tuning in. And I think Leo won the race in tier 2 if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen the last 5 laps. I only watched lap 21 before I had to take over tier 1 stream. I think Marty got a podium because he was showing some good pace, did Marty, so if he did get a podium, so congratulations towards him. He was in tier 1 last season, and now he is in tier 2, it is Marty. And the likes of Jacob Booth, Ferg and Mark are currently not racing this season. Well, AJ is, but he can't race tonight because of internet connection issues. But Ferg is not here tonight, neither is Mark. Mark is not racing because he's got a lot of things to do with the summer activities like Ferg did last season. Probably why Ferg is not racing again, because during the summer a lot of people like to go outside, which is understandable of course, because it's hot and sweaty here in the UK. I'm quite sure if you experience it anywhere else, but as we move on to lap 9, then with Pease continuing to lead ahead of Rudy. He must be so frustrated as Nathan then has come to pit lane to put on a set of hard compound tyres. The first man to pit in this race out of this lot. Will Josh respond towards Nathan because he wasn't the DRS train of him? And Nathan now putting on the hard compound tyres to try to do the undercut on Joshua Evans in P3. And dragging on speed, just confirming that Liam did finish in P3. Cross Liam. Reasonably 28 degrees at 10 PM. Yeah, you are correct. Well, I don't know if it's 28 degrees or not, but it's certainly hot. If you do hear my fan in the background, I apologise for that. Just tell me if you hear my fan and I will move it further away. We're off the next day at Doomwell are fighting in Luffield we go. And we're off the next day going around the outside of the Aston Martin driver and puts a nice move on him. And it's up into P12 on those medium compound tyres. Next target is a Het Bompier, and Het Bompier is currently putting pressure on IS Relentless Knight in P10. And QRT Leroy then has just picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. Currently under pressure from Panda behind. I think I remember Panda getting a podium here at the British GP one time. I'm not quite sure, I think it was a few seasons ago where Panda picked up a podium. I think he likes British GP, he's always been quick around here, has Panda, and now he's putting major pressure on the LP, but he's also got pressure from Reservoir behind him, so Panda's got to defend and attack at the same time. And he's currently under massive pressure from Reservoir. Here we go in the final corner. Will he get him to turn number 1? No, he won't, he's too far behind to do that, but he'll wait for the DRS next time around on the Wellington Straight before he'll get him. Nathan has rejoined down in P16. The rough the next day is on the medium compound tyres. He's going to pit onto the hard compound tyres, so that's the end of his first stint then. It's all calm in the first stint, it's all tactical play in the first stint, they all follow each other, and it gets even more interesting in the second stint. That's how league racing always goes. But Wilds then close on the back of Joshua Evans for P3. I wonder if Josh's tyres are starting to reach the end of their peak performance. I don't think they're dead, but they're just not the best they can be. The hard tyres then are starting to come into play. And here we go then, Will Wild to try and overtake him into Stowe. Evans does have the DRS at the back of Rudy, as Griff has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. Griff has overtaken Duval, he's moved himself up into P12. And onto the, well, into Hangar Straight yet again. Bakayoko close behind Walter, but still not close enough to make a move. And Evans there, what will he do when it comes to the pit lane this lap? No, he won't. So his fellow medium runners have come to the pit lane, but he hasn't. So Evans then just sticking out as long as he can. He can't afford to stay out there on the mediums too long, because the hard runners around him will pit on the mediums, and therefore Evans will have the freshest tyres to try and reduce that gap before these guys make their pit stop. So he can't afford to stay out there too long on those medium compound tyres. Look at that then, you can see Bakayoko all over the back of Walter's rear wing. He's been trying to threaten to make a move, but it's been quite difficult as they've all had DRS on each other. And will he try and make a move? It's a big opportunity for him going down the inside of Brooklands. Oh, let's have a look then. No, he's too far back, just too far back to make a move on him. Trying different lines, try and find a way past the Dutchman. And Reservoir then has overtaken Panda, he's moved himself up into P8. And that's a nice move there, going into Brooklands. So, Nathan's rejoined down in P15. And after the next day, he's rejoined down in P17. It's a long, long pit stop around here, the British GP. Is this Walter's chance to try and overtake Evans? Because Evans is dropping further back off of Rudy. It looks like Pease is showing pace as well, because the gap is 8 tenths. And now is this Walter's big opportunity to try and overtake Joshua, because he's under massive pressure from Bakayoko right behind. So let's see if he makes a move into Stowe. Not on this occasion, no, I thought he was close enough to do so, but Josh got wide coming out of Stowe, and now he makes his pit stop. So the medium runner is out of the way. It's released Walter and Bakayoko. Bearing in mind, Walter is 1.3 seconds behind. Made a mistake coming out the penultimate corner, gets out of shape, and Pease has just set the fastest lap of this race, so he's pushing then. And Bakayoko then can sense an opportunity to arise on Walter. Knows Walter is struggling a little bit, especially the exit of that corner. But Walter this time does not have DRS, and he'll be a sitting duck down the straight. Bakayoko will overtake him with the helping hand of the DRS and the extra battery as well. Let's see if we try and make a move going into Brooklands. Walter got a decent exit coming out of turn number 4, so Bakayoko's further behind. We can't overtake him on this occasion, but once we get down to Stowe, we'll see these two swapping positions and going side by side. And Josh then has rejoined in P14. This is a long, long pit stop, and Nathan's just further behind him. So despite Nathan pitted earlier, these two were both in the DRS trade and not far apart from each other. So despite pitting earlier, Josh is still rejoined in P14 then. So those medium tyres weren't bad at all, and he's got a gap of 3 seconds toward himself. But bearing in mind, he's got to warm these tyres up as well. And lots of people are joining the stream because Tier 2's ended. I hope you're all doing well here. Pease is leading the way. He took pole position ahead of Rudy. Rudy invalidated his last lap, but these two currently in the battle for P1. It's just a car before the storm, and Reservoir then has overtaken Leroy. He moves himself up into P6 ahead of the Irishman. He picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, unfortunate for him. And Griff, Duwall and Sieb are all in the battle for P11, and Duwall is in the pit lane to get rid of those medium compound tyres. So Walter then, 1.6 seconds, can he close that gap in? Can he get himself back in DRS range of Rudy and Pease? Bakayoko then be trying to find a way past him. Now Walter does not have DRS on the back of anybody, it should be easier for Bakayoko to try and overtake him. And you can see that the flashing light on the back of Walter's car indicating that he is D8 on the straight, so Bakayoko can use that to his advantage to try and overtake him down, knowing that he's got low ERS and knowing that it'll be hard for him to defend down the straight. And Walter 1.3 behind Rudy. You can see him already derating on this straight. You can tell he's used a lot of ERS to try and claw himself back in the DRS range of Rudy and Pease. These two are starting to push now once those medium runners start to go in the pit lane. So these two are pushing really hard. The first few laps were just following each other. Now the second part of the race is going to get interesting. And Bakayoko then, is he close enough to make it move? No, he's too far back for sure on Walter, he can't make it move. But with the ERS advantage Bakayoko has, it should be easy. But into the pit lane goes Rudy then, for a pit stop on the medium compound tyres. We know the mediums could go over 11-13 laps. And here we go then, Rudy is in the pit lane with 13 laps to go in this race. He's triggered the undercut, and this is where we'll get interesting. Pierce has to push as hard as he can on his out lap to try and stop Rudy from doing the undercut. There he goes then, into the pit lane he goes on a set of the medium compound tyres. They don't take these hards too far. Maybe the hards to medium strategy is the better way in majority of the races. It's always worse mediums to hards to mediums. It just depends if the safety car comes out at the right time as well. So, time for push to everybody then. And Rudy rejoins in some nice clear air behind his AlphaTauri teammate Asib. And he rejoins then in P12. Then Rudy's got to warm those tyres up then as quickly as he can before he can start proper pushing on them. Don't want to start pushing too hard on those mediums because it takes a while to warm up. I know a few people have made mistakes before by pushing a little bit too hard and resulting in a spin. You can see they're weaving left and right to get temperature into those tyres. As we head our way then towards Beckett's and Beckett's, as P's pushed hard enough to try and prevent Rudy from doing the undercut. And here comes Bakayoko then. Can he get the move going into Stowe? He's not deploying the ERS then, so he's waited. But there it is then, stays in P3. P should respond this lap. No, he doesn't. P stays out. And yeah, other people stay out then, so maybe they feel the hard compound tyres is good enough and they want to continue. Who knows, but this is giving Rudy more of a chance to try and do the undercut. And QRT Leroy then is in the pit lane to do his pit stop, followed by the Red Bull to Griff. And Bakayoko then all over the back of Walter. It's just a matter of time before he makes an overtake attempt on Walter. With the help of the ERS, he should be able to get past him. He's not using his ERS all at once, but here we go then. And nothing Walter could do about that one with the low battery for him. Now he can sit behind Bakayoko and try and save some of the ERS he lost. And fight it back later on towards this race, but they're going to keep it out to Rudy down to P10. He should be quick now on those hot medium compound tyres down up to temperature. He should be pushing as hard as he can to try and do the undercut on Peter ahead of him. A long pit stop this is as well. Around the British GP, you can see there P is pushing as hard as he can on those hard compound tyres. I wonder if Pease will make a pit stop this lap. Then you can see him derated already on this straight. And Walter is still on the back of Yoga into Stowe we go. Is Pease going to make a pit stop? Yes, he is then. Into the pit lane comes Pease then. Decides to stay on one lap later. Followed by Walter. Followed by Bakayoko. Pease has just picked himself up. A 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. A costly mistake for him. And that's a big pain. That's a massive shame for Pease there. Took a lot of pain for speeding the pit lane. It's a difficult pit lane that is. It's very easy to misjudge the braking zone. And I wonder where will Rudy rejoin in all this then. So there he comes then. Rudy will know he's pulled 6/10 in the middle sector. And Walter did not pit on that lap. I did say he pitted, but he didn't. That was Bakayoko who pitted. But here comes Rudy then. He set the fastest lap of this race. He's making his way towards turn number 1 now. Is Pease ahead of him? And yes, he is. Pease is up into P5. But the problem is he's got a 5-second time penalty. So his tyres then are 2 laps older, 2 laps younger than Rudy's. But bearing in mind, Pease's tyres are still going to warm up. So Rudy has the advantage right now in this race. And once those tyres are warmed up, Pease will have the advantage. And there he goes, then down the inside. You can see there Pease not getting the grip he wants. You can see him understeering into the corners. And nothing he can do about that on colder tyres. Oh, it's a massive shame Pease picked up a 5-second time penalty because he's got such good pace. But unfortunately there, just got a bit too greedy going into his pit lane there. And there's no more pit stops either from now to the end unless there's a safety car. So that 5-second time penalty will be added towards the end of the race. You can't get that appealed either because it's a slam dunk 5-second time penalty by spinning the pit lane. And Bakayoko then has rejoined in P7, and Walter has made his pit stop. There the other Ferrari crew get to work, and also Het Bompje has also made his pit stop. Onto the medium tyres he goes, and let's see where Walter rejoins by staying a few laps out extra than other people around him. Pease and Rudy making their way around the final few corners, and Pease's tyres should be warmed up by now, and he can go on the charge. His tyres are 2 laps younger in comparison to Rudy's. Making our way through the first 2 corners, and Walter has rejoined behind these two, and Bakayoko did not get the undercut on Walter, so Walter stayed up, but bearing in mind that his tyres are cold, and Bakayoko then smooths past him and he moves himself up into P5. And look at Pease and Rudy, they go side by side. Pease has DRS on Rudy on the Wellington straight, and he moves himself up back into the net lead race. Panda and Reservoir currently leading this race on those hard compound tyres. And Bakayoko then easier contention for the race win. He's got contention for a podium, and Walter's tyres need to warm up. Looks like Bakayoko's got some decent pace on his hands. And Jeroen Visser then closing on the back of the Williams of Evans. As we make our way down into Cops we go. It should be an easy overtake because it's on the hard compound tyres in comparison to the medium compound tyres. Making our way through Maggots and Beckett's. There we go then on the straight. Would you move us and make an overtake on Evans? Not for the time being, Jeroen stays behind him in P8. But you can see the mediums to hard strategy did not work for Evans. He's currently down in P7. And Pease has just set the fastest lap of this race. We can see Jeroen crawling all over the back of Evans. So it turns out hards to mediums then can work anywhere around. Oh, he's just picked up a 3-second time penalty. How's Jeroen Visser? And now he's going to go down the inside into turn number 3. Outbreaks himself. Evans will come back underneath him, but I think Jeroen Visser will have the DRS unless. Yeah, I think Jeroen does have the DRS. He does indeed to protect himself from Evans. I know it's turn 1, it's so easy to try to cut that turn 1 because you have to take a lot of curb, but if you take too much of it, obviously you'll end up in a penalty. So looks like the race victory then will go towards Rudy and Bakayoko unless Pease can find 5 seconds over Rudy, but I don't think so because it's so easy to stay within DRS range of somebody around this track. Pease's chances of finishing and net P4 unless Jeroen Visser can close in on him. Panda and Reservoir leading this race. Reservoir having a 3-second time penalty towards his name. Currently not under pressure from anybody, but a safety car will be doable for him. Go for a long stint on those hard compound tyres. I wonder if they've got any soft saves saved up left for this race because they're probably going hard to softs. I know they didn't use all their soft compound tyres to Reservoir or Panda, so looks like they've got some softs left in store, ready for the end. As long as Rudy stays in DRS range of Pease, it should be going anywhere. Will Pease? Yeah, it's unfortunate that Pease picked up a 5-second time penalty. Still got plenty of chances left to go in this race, but all Rudy's got to do now is keep it nice and clean. And what has Jacob be doing in this free time? That's a good question, Nacho. You can see the spam comments in the chat. So the closest battles on the track so far, Evans and Jeroen. We've got Rudy and Pease battling over for P3. Oh, Rudy's got a wide, and that could result in a warning for him, so he could be careful, because if he does that more than 2 times, then Bakayoko will have a smell of victory. As Pease has a 5-second time penalty, Rudy there has dropped out of the 1-second range of DRS, so Pease then has broken that 1-second barrier over Rudy, and Rudy's got no ERS whatsoever, as Reservoir is in the pit lane to do his one stop from hard to soft. Surely going to go on soft compound tyres now. Those two in the top 2. Pease will take back the lead of this race ahead of Rudy Bakayoko in P5. But yeah, Bakayoko could win this race if Rudy picks up a 3-second time penalty. As we make our way down into turn number 1, Reservoir is on the soft compound tyres, so is Panda, so expect them to be rapid towards the end of this race, fighting for the final top 10 places. But can Bakayoko close in on the gap towards Rudy and Giroud and Pease? Rudy is currently himself outside the 1 second range, but he's hanging in there, is Rudy. The gap in the rear wing is open. Gotta make sure he can stay there, but Pease is really showing some good pace. I don't think it's enough to build 5 seconds, but if he can do that, that'll be a miracle if he could do that. Definitely my driver of the day, despite speeding the pit lane. He's just gonna hope that no safety cars do appear, otherwise the field will budge back together, therefore he'll be losing more places. He should fall down to P4, I think, with that 5 second time penalty, because Giroud is 3.5 away from Walter. 1 plus 4 is over 5 seconds, so the most he will fall down is P4. Bear in mind, Giroud does have a 3 second time penalty anyway, so not ideal for Pease. It would have been great for him to win at the British GP at his home Grand Prix. He's currently being under pressure by 2 Dutchmen, which is Bakayoko and Rudy. Bakayoko just hovering around in the 1 second range of DRS, but it just keeps falling out of it. It's just so hard to claw yourself back in the DRS range once another driver's within another driver's DRS. But Rudy then has got himself back in the DRS range. It's been hovering around a second as Reservoir has overtaken Knight for P9. Moves himself up. The next target for him is QRT Leroy. Been a quiet race so far, it must be said, the British GP. Not a usual race you expect around here. There's usually loads of overtaking happening. And that shows right, 4 Dutches in the top 4. Can we see Yogurt? Yes, you can see him. There he is then, Bakayoko in P3, the gap between himself is 1.2 towards Rudy. Yoga was supposed to be commentating with me, but turns out he's racing. I'm not doing a bad job as Bakayoko in P3, currently on the podium. Shows some decent pace. He switched the wheel, of course, as Bakayoko, so took a lot of time to get used to. It looks like he's found a rhythm with it. Can he get himself in the 1 second range of Rudy? KXI is supporting Rudy. Can Rudy get his first win of the season, or will it belong to Bakayoko? Be hard for Pease to claw out that 1 second gap, 5 second gap. Bakayoko's going to show some mighty pace if he wants to get himself in that 1 second range of DRS. He's just currently outside of it. Needs to find some extra pace. Rudy, however, has got himself in the DRS range. Now Rudy's in the DRS range of Pease, he can start saving up as some ERS, ready for the attack for Bakayoko if he does attack him later on. But Reservoir has just set himself a fastest lap of this race. And now DRS then is not enabled for Bakayoko, so he did get it around that time. And he'll lose a little bit of time on the straight because of Rudy having the DRS on Pease. At least Pease will get a podium, it must be said. Will he get a podium? I don't think he will. Pease has got himself a 5 second time penalty, not a 3 second time penalty, because he's spent in the pit lane. So he'll drop down into P4 unless one of these guys in the top 4 pick up a 3 second time penalty. But yeah, just to reiterate, Pease has got a 5 second time penalty, not a 3 second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So the most he will get is P4 because Giroud is not closing in on Walter. And yet again, Bakayoko did not get DRS on Rudy. Rudy's got DRS on Pease. Rudy knows he doesn't have to risk it all to get past Pease because he's got a 5 second time penalty, but in terms of entertainment, we'd love to see these two fight. He knows he doesn't have to overtake him. Rudy won the pre-season races, looking good for him. I reckon Rudy's one of the contenders for the CRO champion. Along with Pease, Bakayoko could be one of them as well. As we're on lap 23 out of 26, so this race has gone quick. There's no safety cars in this race, neither are virtual. Been a quiet race so far, it must be said. I know last season there was a lot of stuff actually going on there at the British GP in CRL. Can't quite remember who won it actually. I think it was Giroud who won that race, or Pease. I think it was Mark who took pole position last season at the British GP, but couldn't convert it into a win. I do remember Mark taking pole position around here in Silverstone. Then we had Seymour Gamer a few seasons ago who won the British GP. Then we had Ferg versus Harvey Lees. I'll always remember that battle between the two. I think that was Harvey Lees' first victory of the season. He did a fantastic job battling Ferg. I think Ferg went on to win the championship because it was him versus Duval for the championship. Duval became a two-time CRO champion, and a season later Ferg managed to win it. There's been plenty of action around here at the British GP in the past, but Bakayoko then has got himself within DRS range of Rudy. How difficult and easy it would be to overtake. Reservoir is currently right behind Leroy. Let's go on board with them then. And there he is, going side by side. He switched to the inside line. Will he outbrake him into the final few corners? No, he won't. We'll have the better exits cut out of these final three corners thanks to soft compound tyres. He should be able to get him. Because he used the edge. Will he go for him into turn number one? Will he risk it? No, he won't. He'll stay behind him for the time being. We'll probably get him down towards Brooklands. I mean, or could be possibly head to Luffield as well. We'll have DRS on this lap. Will Reservoir. He's a decent exit cut out of this final corner. And now we'll have the DRS on Leroy, going side by side. Should be an easy move with the help of the soft compound tyres. And yes, he moves himself up into PA. Here we go, they're back on board with the top three. 3 laps left to go in this race. If Rudy will play this out tactically, he'll stay behind P. He's using him for DRS, but he might not have DRS on this straight. He's fallen out of the 1 second range of DRS. The detection point is somewhere around here. He does not have DRS, does Rudy? And he will fall into the clutches of Bakayoko. The DRS then is not open on the rear of the AlphaTauri. Bakayoko does have the DRS open, so Rudy's got to watch out for Bakayoko. Rudy's got to make sure he stays within that 1 second range of P's, otherwise Yoga will put some massive pressure on him. Might not be over yet with 2 laps left to go in this race. Can Bakayoko sense a victory? All Rudy's got to do is make sure he stays within DRS range of P's. Bakayoko will for sure have DRS now on Rudy. He knows it'll be difficult to try and get past the Dutchman because he'll have DRS on P's. Looks like Bakayoko's got some decent pace, and Duval and them off the next day are fighting for P16 and P17. Back on board with the top 3 then. 2 laps left to go. Who will be the race victory at the end of this race? Will it be Yoga or will it be Rudy? We'll have to find out in 2 laps time. It's a massive shame. Even I think if Pease did pick up that 5 second time penalty, we would have definitely saw a big battle between Rudy and Pease. No doubt about that one. But because look at that, he's outside of 1 second range of DRS yet again. He's got no ERS, so we'll be under massive pressure then once we make our way onto this long straight. And Bakayoko knows we'll have no DRS on the back of Pease then, so this could get very interesting as Bakayoko then has DRS on the back of Rudy. He'll have no ERS to protect himself whatsoever. And it's going to be very interesting. If Pease can extend this gap, this could be a mega battle between Bakayoko and Rudy. These two were first and second in the pre-season race, and Rudy has fallen outside the DRS range, so don't have no chances of trying to get himself back in. This is Bakayoko's opportunity to try and take P1 away from Rudy. As we headed on to the last lap of this race then, Bakayoko versus TF Rudy. Where will Bakayoko plan his overtake? Can Rudy defend? We'll find out then. Oh, Bakayoko spun! And that is a weird spin. He's just lost the rear end of the car there. Bakayoko will be absolutely furious with that one. That is a weird spin indeed. And Jimmy Visser will be going down the inside of Yoga. They both made contact, but that's just a massive shame. I don't know how he could have done that, because probably stabbed to the brakes a bit too hard. The rear's locked up and therefore sent him to a spin. But that is a race victory thrown away. And that's just unfortunate there from Bakayoko. He'll be kicking himself with that one, knowing he could have won the first race of the season. But that was a strange spin, it must be said. It looks like Rudy's struggling just a little bit with tyres there. He's dropped off the pace a little bit from P, so that 2 laps difference has definitely made a big difference in terms of the battle for P2 and P3 between Yoga and Rudy there. But yeah, I think podium will get Peas. I mean, I think Peas will get a podium then, because back here Yogurt's spin. So at least Peas could celebrate with a podium. And Jeroen is right behind Yogurt then, but it won't make a move, he's too far behind. But here he is then, Peas, unfortunately picking up that 5-second time penalty. He will finish in first place, but the first race of the season will go towards Rudy. He wins the first race of the season. Walter in P2, Peas in P3, and Bakke Yogurt will come across the line to finish in P4. Jeroen Visser in P5. Evans finishes in P5 due to Jeroen's penalties. Nathan finishes in P7, and Reservoir then finishes in P8 ahead of QRT Leroy. Here comes IS7 R01 in 10th place. Panda P11. Steve in P12, Tigriff P13, Bob Pierre P14, Isa Kush in P15 ahead of Ruff the next day, and Duval will come across the line to finish in P17 then. So there's been no safety cars in this race, no virtuals either, but Yogurt will be absolutely furious with that one. Just the rear of the car just locked up. Did he get on the curb too much there? Could that have been a factor towards the spin? Or will it just be playing rear locking, braking too hard into the corner? It's a Dutch 1-2 as well. Commiserations towards Bakke Yogurt there. Here comes Dealwell then, the last man to cross the line, and will finish in P17. And that is the first race of the season done. Hopefully I'll get a co-commentator next time, because Vandango Danny is commentator tier 2 and Bakke Yogurt was supposed to be commentator with me, but Vandango is commentator tier 2, and obviously you can see Bakke Yogurt's racing, so congrats towards Rudy then on the race victory ahead of Walter. McLaren of P's in P3, Bakke Yogurt P4, Evans in P5, Jeroen in P6, Nathan P7, QRT Leroy P8, Relentless Knight in P9, ESW Panda in P10, Steve in P11, Reservoir P12, Bob Pierre P13, Tigriff P14. Isa Kush, despite making contact on lap 1, I mean getting spun out by lap 1, he still stayed in the lobby, so big respect for Isa Kush to stay throughout the whole lobby, because I know most people would have rage quitted in this situation, be spun out on lap 1, no safety car throughout the whole race, been at the back of most of the race. So if Isa Kush there didn't have contact with those guys behind, I wonder what would have happened in his race. Ruff the next day P16 and Duval in P17 then. So that's the first race of the season completed. And have a look to see what the next race is. I did look at the calendar, but I've obviously forgot what the next race is next week. I'll have a look what the next race is for you, then I'll be signing off from here. TF Rudy then, driver of the day, did a fantastic job. He's definitely my driver of the day. We'll have a look at the calendar, if I can find it, of course. I just had it up a few hours ago. Now I can't find it. There we go. So the next race then is at the Spanish Grand Prix. Then after that we have a sprint race in Brazil. But that's it from me. Hopefully you all enjoyed the race, and we'll see you all next time at the Spanish Grand Prix. Same time, 8:30, tier 1. And we'll see you all then. Take care of yourself, have a good weekend, and enjoy the heat.